A very good afternoon to you all. This is the ambassador, with me your ambassador, Jennifer Macau. Now our first story is going to come from Sudan, as the United Nations agencies have reported that several thousands of people, mostly internally displaced persons, the IDPs, have been affected as heavy rains and floods swamped parts of Kassala province in the eastern Sudan, inflicting further misery on communities already vulnerable due to the ongoing conflict. With heavy plains forecasted over the coming days, there are concerns that Gash River could flood extra into Kassala town, further exacerbating the situation. Here is a full report.
Flooding in Sudan eastern Kassala province has compounded the hardship of displaced people who are seeking the shelter. In the area known as Industrial School, one of the biggest displacement camps in Kassala, people were pleading for help. Ali Abdul Jabbar, an internally displaced man from the Sena, explains.
We arrived from Sena and have been residing in an area known as the Industrial School for 20 days. The rain and water conditions can be observed. We are not facing any issues. Once our accommodations are repaired, we will move. The current conditions can be witnessed. We urge the authorities to address this issue promptly.
Mawin Abod, also a displaced man from the Sena province, described the situation as critical and devastating and emphasized the urgent need for assistance.
I appeal to all kind-hearted individuals in Kassala province, across Sudan and beyond, to assist the people in need with essential supplies like equipment, shelter, blanket, clothing or medicine.
Kassala, individuals trudged through knee-deep floodwater, clutching onto their saved possessions. Meanwhile, some opted to rest on the dry land after abandoning tents that have been partially submerged. At least 12 people have died in eastern Sudan, according to the Sudanese Ministry of Health, following the flooding that began on Saturday, leaving homes and tents inundated. In April last year, Sudan was thrown into turmoil as long as standing tensions between the military and the RSF erupted into violent clashes in Khartoum and other parts of the country. Periskego, GBS News.
Dozens of Wagner mercenaries were killed over the weekend in a significant ambush in the northern Mali, marking one of the largest losses for the Russian group in recent years. Approximately 50 fighters were reportedly killed during an ambush by the Al-Qaeda militants who were joined by the pursuing rebels along the Algeria border. The ambush occurred as the Wagner forces were engaged in a combat against the Tuareg rebels along Mali military. At least 2 additional Wagner fighters were taken captive during the fatal accident. Paris Kigo with a full report.
Wagner has been present in Mali since late 2021, following a military corps representing French troops and international peacekeepers in helping to fight militants who have threatened communities in the central and northern region for more than a decade. At the same time, Wagner has been accused of helping to carry out raids and drone strikes that have killed civilians. Russia has capitalized on the deteriorating relation between the West and the coup-affected Sahel nation in West Africa to send fighters and assert its influence. Wagner has been active in the Sahel, the vast expansive south of the Sahara Desert, as the mercenaries profit from seized mineral riches in exchange for their security services. Periskego, GBS News.
5 Libyan nationals who were arrested on Friday at a covert military training camp appeared in South African court on Monday, and the raid conducted near the river in Gauteng province has led to the charges of visa fraud and misinterpretation, as investigations reveal the individuals who entered the country on study visas were illegally involved in illegal military training. The court proceedings have been delayed on till August 15th to secure an Arabic interpreter, as authorities continue to probe the potential being of other illegal training sites across the nation. Here is a report.
South African police reported that the detainees had entered the country on study visas with the intent of training as security guards. However, investigations suggest that the group was actually engaged in military training. The Libyans, who were apprehended at the site of the alleged camp, faced charges related to misrepresentation on their visa applications. The court session, which took place in Gauteng, was postponed to August 5th to allow for the appointment of an Arabic interpreter. All 95 detainees appeared in court in civilian attire and are currently being held in custody.
Are facing a charge of misrepresenting in their visa application. Remember, when they left their country in Libya, they came here to study in South Africa. However, where they were found, they were doing training to become soldiers. So as they appeared in court today, the court postponed the matter to the 5th of August 2024 for Arabic interpreter. So the court felt that the accused must not be released since they do not have fixed addresses, and that the only place where they can be kept is in custody.
Authorities are expanding their investigation to determine if there are additional illegal military training camps elsewhere in South Africa. The case highlights ongoing concerns about illegal military activities and visa fraud in the region. Thomas Musyoki, GBS News.
The ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has criticized Zuma for undermining the party's integrity and underlining the need for discipline within the organization. Zuma, a long-time ANC member and former South African president, was suspended in January 2024 for his actions and was recently expelled from the African National Congress ANC after supporting the rival Umkhonto Wesizwe Party MK in the recent parliamentary elections. The ANC, which received only 40.18% of the vote, its lowest since 1994, formalized Zuma's expulsion on July 29, 2024. MK has denounced the expulsion as a kangaroo court process, claiming that Zuma was not properly informed of the ruling. Zuma now has 21 days to contest the decision and is expected to seek legal counsel regarding his next steps.
Party, and then you argue for your membership. When you have taken a conscious decision to leave the ANC, you have impugned the integrity of the ANC. You have done everything. You have brought us below 40%, below 50%, and we are grappling with that now. So all of those things have happened. We are dealing with the consequence of Jacob Zuma's actions. It doesn't matter the rank, but if you break the rules and the constitution, you contravene, we've got the responsibility to maintain discipline in the party. And you'll be subjected to the ANC disciplinary process. And we didn't think that at any given point in time we'll deal with a situation like this in history of our former president.
In the midst of conflict and hardship, two nations are finding solace and pride in the Olympic stage. South Sudan and Palestine, both familiar to the harsh realities of war, are showcasing their resilience and determination at the Paris 2024 Olympics. For South Sudan, it is their debut appearance on the world's biggest stage, while Palestinian athletes compete amidst the shadows of the ongoing violence. These moments represent more than just athletics achievements. They are symbols of hope and perseverance against all the odds. Our next report tells us this story.
In Paris, South Sudan's bright stars are capturing hearts with their historic journey. Despite being the sole African team in the men's basketball tournament, their path through the games has been anything but easy. From overcoming logistical nightmares to competing against basketball giants like Team USA, South Sudan's first Olympic appearance is a testament to their undying spirit. Meanwhile, Palestinian athletes are competing with a sense of pride and resilience. Runners Mohamed Douida and Leila Masri, representing Palestine amid the ongoing conflict, are embodying their nation's strength. For these athletes, simply participating in the Olympics is a monumental achievement. South Sudan and Palestine are not just participating, they are inspiring the world.
Quite encouraging, and that international news brings us to our very first break. We have more lined up for you shortly after the break. Topics you can't afford to miss. Don't move an inch. We'll be right back with even more.
My sermon today is, how do you feel when you go out to God. But you cannot be good according to the standard of God. There is the standard of God and there is human standards. Because the Bible says that from every intent of our thoughts, every imagination of our thoughts is only evil continuously. And then verses 23 says, all these evil things come from within and defiles the man. Chapter 3, verses 12. We can read from verses 12. It says, they are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not even one. However, the Bible does not teach us like these folks. Bible does not tell us to do something good. The Bible does not tell us that we should do something good. We should try hard to do good things. The Bible always shows us our true image and showing us that we are the people who cannot do anything good at all.
When we talk about health, about menstruation health, what does it mean?
Because women are uniquely made, they have something that is called periods, or they menstruate.
That makes us unique.
Every month and menstruation is very special and pure. When I was growing up, when I started, nobody was talking about it. I only learned when I had my first period, which is called menarche. I am called I had reusable pads. Our pads are reusable because they are made of cloth. Yes. If we didn't menstruate, they would not be there. So I tell them, boys, you would not be here if there's no menstruating. So how many of you would like to be fathers one day? All of them. So cramps is normal. If you can tolerate, you just try and vumilia. The same towel, face towel, you can dip it in warm water and just place it on your stomach if you are at home.
Right now she's in her early 30s. When she's on period, she gets mad.
You see?
Mental disorder.
She's proposed to, but she can't say yes because her uterus were removed, her ovaries.
Oh my God.
Without her knowledge when she was young.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned with us. You are watching The Ambassador, GBS Global, and we are glad to have you join us today. Now moving on, in the Gaza Strip, a heartbreaking crisis is unfolding as war-torn families face a new enemy. A surge in skin disease spreading rapidly among the children. The crisis fueled by the overcrowded living conditions and scarce resources is pushing the Gaza's health system into its breaking point. With over 100,000 cases of lice, scabies and tens of thousands more suffering from rashes, the situation has even become even more dire. Irene Juguna with a full report.
In the midst of ongoing conflict, Gaza's displaced families are dealing with the troubling outbreak of skin diseases. Living conditions are dire. Over 1.8 million people are crammed into a tiny area with almost no clean water or sanitation. Makeshift dump sites are filled with human waste and garbage, making the situation even worse. Meet Little Cholin. Her story is one of many in this devastated region. Displaced from her home, she now lives in a makeshift camp where basic necessities are out of reach. Her mother, Shaima Mashod, describes a nightmare.
Spots are appearing on my other son. It's an infection. We're sleeping in the dirt with nowhere to go. It's very tough. Please help us. Please supply us with shampoo, even a bar of soap to wash our children's hands.
Doctors at Nasir Hospital are overwhelmed with 300 to 500 new cases every day. They're struggling to keep up. Scabies, lice, and other infections are at epidemic levels. As Gaza's children suffer, the international community is called upon to act. The urgent need for medical supplies and improved living conditions is more critical than ever. This crisis highlights the urgent need for increased humanitarian assistance and a peaceful resolution to the conflict.
Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh has been killed in Tehran, Iran, where the strike occurred at his headquarters. The Islamic Revolutionary Corps is investigating the incident. It is worth noting that Haniyeh had recently attended the inauguration of Iran's new president, besides his death marking a significant shake-up in the ongoing conflict in the region. Hamas has labeled the attack as a deceitful Zionist strike, while vowing to retaliate against those responsible. Here is the report.
In a shocking turn of events, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh has been killed in a strike on his residence in Tehran, Iran, during a visit for the inauguration of the new Iranian president. The Islamist militant group confirmed the assassination, attributing it to a Zionist strike, while Iran's Revolutionary Guards stated that the incident is under investigation. Haniyeh, who had been in exile in Qatar and Turkey since 2016, was a prominent figure in Hamas since its founding in 1987 and served as Palestinian Prime Minister in 2006. His death marks a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict, coming just months after Hamas led a series of deadly attacks against Israel, resulting in the deaths of 1,200 people and the capture of hostages. Both Hamas and Iran have vowed to retaliate, signaling a turbulent new chapter in the region's strife. Alex Mwangi, GBS News.
Venezuela is in a political crisis after Sunday's disputed presidential election, where both President Nicolas Maduro and the opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez claimed victory. Maduro stated that the results were final, while Gonzalez asserted that he had the evidence of winning over 70% of the vote. Thousands have been arrested across Venezuela, with some clashes between police and demonstrators. The Electoral Commission has been criticized for not releasing the detailed results, hindering verification, binding up mixed reactions internationally. The situation remains volatile, with both sides planning more protests, while analysts warn of a potential violence in the government response aggressively to the opposition claims of fraud.
Crises are opportunities for growth. They aim to incite a political crisis. Despite their efforts, they have failed and will continue to fail. But the current circumstances will provide us with valuable lessons.
Paul Dance, the director of controversial Project 2025 initiative at the Heritage Foundation, has stepped down from his position following the intense backlash from Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The project, which aimed at the overhaul of the federal government according to the ultra-conservative principles, was largely drafted by former Trump aides, but since then has been renounced by the campaign. Let us get the full report.
In a significant shift, Paul Dance, the director of Project 2025, has resigned from his position at the Heritage Foundation amid mounting criticism from both Democrats and Donald Trump's campaign. This project, which outlines a controversial conservative agenda, includes proposals to dismantle federal agencies and impose strict policies on issues like abortion and education.
And they come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is, it's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Trump's campaign has distanced itself from the nearly 900-page document, with campaign officials expressing frustration over its prominence and implications that it shapes Trump's policies. Alex Mwangi, GBS News.
China and 26 African countries have unveiled a major digital cooperation agreement aimed at boosting innovation and infrastructure across the continent. At a forum hosted by the China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in Beijing on July 29th, the two sides committed to a 3-year action plan featuring 2 digital transformation projects and aid for 1,000 professionals. Senegal's telecommunications minister praised the initiative as a win-win for both Africa and China, underscoring the growing role of Chinese firms in enhancing digital networks and infrastructure throughout Africa. Thomas Musyoki gives us the full report.
The newly established partnership aims to drive innovation and infrastructure development across Africa through a comprehensive 3-year action plan. This plan includes the launch of 10 digital transformation demonstration projects and the training of at least 1,000 digital professionals. The initiative seeks to enhance cooperation in areas such as digital policy, infrastructure, cutting-edge innovation, digital transformation, and security. China's commitment to digital collaboration with African nations has been growing in recent years. The China Academy of ICTs reports that Chinese firms have significantly contributed to improving network infrastructures across Africa, impacting over 900 million people. This includes the deployment of undersea cables and the establishment of data centers, which are crucial for expanding digital connectivity and capabilities on the continent. The action plan is expected to further strengthen digital partnerships, offering new opportunities for technological advancements and professional development in Africa.
The United States has announced a significant boost in military support for the Philippines, pledging $500 million in military financing amidst the rising tensions with China and the South China Sea. The announcement was made by the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin during their visit to Manila, where they met with the Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and other officials. Secretary Blinken and Austin described it as an unprecedented investment to modernize the Philippine military and the Coast Guard, signaling U.S. support for the oldest regional ally and the commitment to the Mutual Defense Treaty. The aid comes as China and the Philippines clash over the territorial claims, particularly around the second Thomas Shoal, while funding is all part of the broader $2 billion, a package that is to reinforce the U.S. partnership in the Indo-Pacific region. In a surprising development, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has been pardoned by the German national Rico Krieger, who was sentenced to death on terrorism charges. The sentence has been commuted to life imprisonment following the clemency petition submitted by Krieger. Krieger was convicted for allegedly placing explosives near a railway, purportedly under the direction of the Ukrainian intelligence. The decision was a signal to attempt and improve relations with the West amidst the ongoing tensions surrounding Belarus' support for Russia in the Ukraine conflict. Speculation is growing as Krieger could be involved in a potential prisoner swap between Belarus and Germany. His televised confession raised concerns about the coercion and the lacked solid evidence. The IDF confirmed the death of Fuad Shuk, a senior Hezbollah commander in a strike in Beirut on July 30th, who was termed as an Nasrallah right-hand man and was linked to the recent Golan Heights attack that killed 12 children. The IDF described the precise operation as unnecessary to deter Hezbollah aggression since October 7th, through experts warning that Shuk's assassination could further escalate the regional tensions. Israel officials asserted that the strike was necessary for national security, while United States officials reiterated their support for Israel's right to defend itself.
This evening, the IDF carried out a targeted strike in Beirut on Fuad Shukur, also known as Said Muhsin, Hezbollah's most senior military commander and the head of its strategic unit. Fuad Shukur was the right-hand man to Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's leader and his advisor in planning and directing attacks and operations. Fuad Shukur was the commander responsible for the Majd al-Shams massacre, in which 12 children were murdered after Hezbollah fired an Iranian Falak 1 rocket directly at a soccer field in northern Israel on Saturday evening. He was a senior terrorist who has the blood of the Israelis and many others on his hands. One day after Hamas massacre on October 7th, Hezbollah joined Hamas in attacking Israelis. Since then, Hezbollah has fired thousands of rockets, missiles, and UAVs at Israel over the last 9.5 months, killing Israeli civilians and soldiers, and forcing 60,000 Israelis to evacuate from their homes. The IDF will not tolerate terrorist attack on Israeli civilians. We have been responding to these attacks with precise strikes on Hezbollah commanders, terror operatives, and military infrastructures in Lebanon. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression and brutal attacks are dragging the people of Lebanon and the entire Middle East into a wider escalation. While we prefer to resolve hostilities without a wider war, the IDF is fully prepared for any scenario. We have a duty to ensure the safe and secure return of Israelis to their homes in northern Israel. And we will continue to act to defend all people of Israel.
And that international news brings us to the end of our Ambassador GBS Global. It's been wonderful having you on board, joining us to the end. Here at the Ambassador, where we continue to bring you the latest updates and the global developments as you keep it locked with us. Have been your Ambassador Jennifer Macau, and I'm looking forward to meeting you here at the Ambassador tomorrow, same time, same place, at 1 p.m. I wish you all the most beautiful and a wonderful afternoon. Stay safe and see you all tomorrow.